The pandemic was very, very unforgiving for a lot of restaurants, and you decided to not only start a restaurant business, but start a luxury item business that only sold one thing, the Wagyu chopped cheese.
Yep.
How were you guys successful in such an unforgiving time in New York?
So just to let you know, it was no PPP loans. It was not PPP, boys. 10 weeks of meetings. And everybody's girlfriend was like, yo, you keep doing these meetings. You ain't come home with no money. Like, what you doing with these meetings? And we sold 57 pre-order sandwiches within the first, 48 hours. So we was like, holy shit, all these people sent us their brand. Like, we got to actually make the sandwiches now.
Now, the pre-order model is interesting because it sounds like you were able to gauge how much interest you actually had in this.
Yeah, because it was a pandemic. Everybody was popped. So he wasn't finna invest $3,000 in groceries hoping to sell a sandwich. So
I feel like in a lot of these business podcasts we talk about investments, we talk about seeding and all of these things. So you feel like you have to be well versed and have a whole bunch of money to start this. But there are other people that
vision.
I love.
As long as you got the vision and the hustle, and I feel like that's what's the most important thing.
Hey guys, welcome to Your Hero's Journey, a business podcast about the holistic journey of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. So that includes everything from the tactical business perspective, spirituality, personal values, personal habits, and everything in between. I am your host, Savannah Hart from Brooklyn, New York, and today I have a fellow Brooklyn, New Yorker with me, Mitty, who is one of 3 founders of Shmackwich. Shmackwich is home of the Wagyu chopped cheese, the only Wagyu chopped cheese that is in New York currently. And if you're not familiar with what a chopped cheese is, it is essentially a sandwich that before you could only find on a bodega or a corner store. Now, we have the elevated chopped cheese that includes Wagyu on a French baguette and costs $20.
$25.
$25. The price is up. Yesterday's price is not the same.
Definitely not.
What's interesting to me is that this particular business, which is now so successful, you have your own brick and mortar in Chelsea, one of the most expensive real estate locations in New York City, if you don't know. And you started this business within the pandemic.
Yep.
And the pandemic was very, very unforgiving for a lot of restaurants, to be specific. I think about 4,500 restaurants closed during the pandemic. And you decided to not only start a restaurant business, but start a luxury item business that only sold one thing, the Wagyu chopped cheese.
Yep.
How were you guys successful in such an unforgiving time in New York?
So just to let you know, it was no PPP loans. It was not PPP, boys. But yeah, basically how we started Shmackwich, being in Brooklyn, we was doing barbecues in my boy backyard in Bushwick. Everybody had to bring some food. My boy Seb would bring Wagyu burgers. And I was like, yo, where you getting these burgers from? He's like, oh, I got the wholesale connect from my last job. So my other partner, Jordan, he wanted to do weed sandwiches. So right there, the whole pandemic, I was trying to figure it out. So I'm like, let me link Jordan with Seb. Let's go grocery shopping. And on the grocery shopping trip, they basically fell in love with each other. Just on some fancy baguette talk and crudos and pates and all that. And right there, we was like, all right, we got something that we could do. And we were holding meetings at my studio in Dumbo. And every day we were just getting chopped cheese, trying to figure it out. Cocoa bread, let me get it on a bagel. And we was like, why don't we just do a Wagyu chopped cheese? So we did about 10 weeks of meetings. And everybody's girlfriend was like, yo, you keep doing these meetings. You ain't coming home with no money. Like, what you doing with these meetings? So I was like, yo, let's just make the sandwich and put it on the gram and see what it do. And we put it on the gram and we sold 57 pre-order sandwiches within the first 48 hours. So we was like, holy shit, all these people sent us their brand. Like, we got to actually make the sandwiches now. Like, we a sandwich company, you feel me? And that basically just turned into like, all right, well, now we got to hustle. We was going to make the sandwiches out of Sib Crib. And the lady that he used to work for saw the post and bought 2 sandwiches, but she was like, where you making these sandwiches at? He was like, making them out the crib. And she was like, nah, the restaurant is closed. Because this is when all restaurants were closed. It was like everything was no indoor dining. So she was like, I could just use the restaurant. Shout out to Pips in Brooklyn Heights. They held us down. They give us the platform to trap out of. And from there, we just took it to the moon. It was like every weekend we're going to be trapping these sandwiches. And like,
how long into the process did you get the actual kitchen?
That was like the first 48 hours. After I put the video on the gram and we were supposed to make them that weekend at Sib Crib, his prior boss was like, where you making these sandwiches at? And he was like, out the crib. And she was like, nah, just use the restaurant because it's abandoned. We don't have no outdoor seating. So right there, we were able to make our first batch of sandwiches out the restaurant.
Wow, that's
It's
huge.
called Pips. It's like a seafood restaurant on like Atlantic and Henry in Brooklyn.
Now, the pre-order model is interesting because it sounds like you were able to gauge how much interest you actually had in this.
Yeah.
So then you weren't necessarily coming out of pocket or having any resources left over. So
yeah, because it was a pandemic. Everybody was popped. So you wasn't finna invest $3,000 in like groceries hoping to sell a sandwich. So, you know, drop shipping with the T-shirt, the mock-up, right? So we took the whole mock-up concept, like, all right, we make one sandwich, we promote it, and we give people a time slot to order, and whoever don't order don't get the sandwich. So in that first like 3 days, everybody put in their orders, and then we closed the order system. Everything was through DM, Cash App, Zelle. Homies said they were gonna put up with cash, and that's really how we popped it off. So basically, we took the customer's money to start the business. So I mean, it's really like the finesse, right? Because you know, a lot of times you see these big brands, they drop a sneaker or they drop a T-shirt or anything, they selling you the product before they actually make it. So we was like, all right, so now we know we got to buy enough product for 57 sandwiches, and that's basically how it popped off.
That's amazing. And I feel like that's such a huge point for a lot of people because I feel like in a lot of these business podcasts we talk about investments, we talk about seeding and all of these things. So you feel like you have to be well versed and have a whole bunch of money to start this. But there are other ways that you can go about it.
Vision.
I love
as long as you got the vision and the hustle, and I feel like that's what's the most important thing. Because so many people got bread, but they don't got a brand. Because to really build, I mean,
So it's about
shout out
the
to me
brands.
being outside for a long time, just on my music shit, on my fly shit, on my outside in the club shit. So I was able to use that influence and have people be like, all right, well, boy always at the fancy restaurants, a $20 chopped cheese, it must be valid if Mitty is jacking it. If I'm jacking it, it got to be something to it. And I felt like that really like pushed it. Because my partners, they not really on the gram like that. They more so like behind the scenes hospitality, flavor patterns. I'm just the taster and I'm the influencer. I just put it on the gram like, yo, don't hit me, hit Shmackwich.
And you did mention that in the beginning, it was all word of mouth. It was all social. And you do have a lot of influence specifically within New York. And I feel like with your following, it's about who is following you, not necessarily the amount, right? Because it's not like you're on like the Kim K level where you got hundreds of thousands of followers.
It's quality over quantity. You feel me? And it's like, I might have 100 followers, but them might be the most pop 100 people in the city, you feel me?
Exactly.
And I was able to take that and, you know, shout out to the gram and everybody that supported me. Because they was like, all right, Mitty, you doing this? I'm going to buy one. I'm going to buy 3. And honestly, like, out of the 57 orders, like, probably like 20 people ain't even pull up.
Oh, really?
They was just like, yo, like, whatever. Like, y'all keep the bread. I love what you're doing. Like, I can't make it, but do your thing. And we was like, all right, well, this is a thing. It's like a hometown hero thing. People, when people want to see you succeed, they're going to support you any way they can. But you got to give them something to support. Like, you can't just be like sitting there hoping that people put you on. You got to like put yourself on.
Now, how often would you guys fulfill pre-orders? Was it every week, every month?
So our system was Sunday to Thursday pre-order. Pickup was Friday and Saturday.
So every week.
Every week. And then our social media became our marketing and advertising strategy because that whole weekend we'll just get like 100 mentions. Everybody like, yo, I got the Wagyu chopped cheese. It's lit. You don't got this. It's not your regular degular. And this is when people had stimmy money too. So, you know, stimmy money, you could drop a little $20 on the chop.
That's true.
So shout out to, you know what I mean? Like no political. Shout out to Trump because the stimmies had the hood jumping and the hood was able to buy the chop for $20 on the baguette. You feel me?
And like, that answers a lot of questions because I'm like, in my head, it's like, okay, it's a pandemic. You think everyone is, you know, trying to save for the pockets, but people out here spending $25.
I mean, I was on the gram. I was seeing the PPP boys in the hood. They was doing 60 clicos on the block. So I'm like, people got the money.
Yo, people are circling the block on those PPP loans right now as we speak. So you might not see a few of them.
So I'm like, yo, I know the homies was dropping bread on the Mary and doing all the. So I'm like, well, let me produce. Like, if you're gonna have a fly fit, you might as well have a fly sandwich. And another thing that was important to us too, that my partners would tell you, was the whole farm to table, farm to fork concept, right? And I feel like in the hood, we don't really know about that. We don't know about farmers markets and fresh produce and where the cow was slaughtered and like just the history. So with Wagyu, it basically has a history to the beef. And pause. I know that's young boys that be on it, right? I'm not from Harlem. That's probably the first time I ever said pause on camera, but it was just basically giving you like a history of the food that you're eating. And I feel like in our communities, we don't have access to that. So it was an opportunity for us to really trick people into eating a healthier product. Because, like, no disrespect to the Akis, like, shout out to Haji's Uptown. They started the wave with the chopped cheese. But them patties be sitting in the freezer sometime a month, 3 months, 4 months, because they buying big bulk. Our produce is coming in fresh. Shout out to Heritage. Every week, fresh produce. Every other day, fresh produce. So it was giving people, and that's why the product is $20, because you're getting some fresh shit. You're not getting no Costco's beef, no old lettuce, no old hero bread that's been made.
And you feel like when you market it that way to your audience, that they get it and they understand it? Because to your point, that's not really something that's in our vocabulary or on the top of our minds.
Yeah, what's
like
crazy
if it tastes
is
good, it tastes good.
we never even really marketed that way. I think people were just like so excited to try Wagyu at an affordable price. You know, when you go to a fancy restaurant, STK, Roof Chris, Wagyu gonna cost you about $200 or some expensive, crazy number. So we was bringing Wagyu to the hood at an affordable price. So people, they didn't even care. They're like, what, Wagyu for $20? Let me get that. You know what I mean? Like,
and they could still stump with
it's a flex. So I feel like the whole social media pandemic, everybody being home, restaurants being closed, everybody got a little bit of stimmy money. People want to flex. They don't know how to flex. You can't flex in the club, popping bottles, clubs is closed. So it's like, yo, for $20, I can flex a chopped cheese. And who don't love a chopped cheese? Yeah. And it was like, I feel like we gave chopped cheese this moment as far as like taking it out the bodega and bringing it outside.
I agree. And now you see a couple people doing
and I love that. And we love to see it. And I tell the young boys all the time, it's like, for me, it's like I seen what happened with Ralph Lauren and how, you know, in the black community, we always made brands pop, but there's never no black CEOs. There's never no, we always taking the money out of our pocket and putting it in somebody else's pocket. And no disrespect, but I get them that money going back to Yemen and all them other places. Like, they not building schools. They not employing. I mean, I've been going to bodegas my whole life. I never seen no black person in the bodega. So for me, it's like, I'm going to keep putting money in their pockets, or when do we say, all right, this is something we love, it's hip hop. How can we monetize this? How can we make money off this and open new doors for us? And that's what we did. And at the end of the day, it's like, I'm from the hood. I can't gentrify nothing. It's reverse gentrification, if anything. Yes. Like, it's black folks moving into the rich neighborhoods now. You feel me? Like, and that's what we did. It's like we kicking down the doors. And I feel like we got nothing but love for that. You feel me? Like, some of our orders was coming from, we used to lose money because we wanted people to get the sandwich, and we didn't have an online platform. So a big order, if you spend $100, we would pay for your Uber. Sometimes we had to clap an Uber, $45. But we wanted people in Harlem to get the sandwich, people in the Bronx to get the sandwich. And that was the losses that we had to take on the back end just to get the product out there. And I mean, our original goal was to make 10 sandwiches and give it to 10 influencer friends. So we used to be there like, who do I know that I can hit up and do all this? And it got to a point like, yo, I'm the influencer. Let me just put this shit on the gram. And then social media became our marketing and advertising team. Like, every day people sharing it. Homies in Miami, homies in London. Like, yo, like, if you're in New York, go tap in with the bros. And that just created, like, an aesthetic.
So we're selling $20 at the time.
I'm going to tell you how I got the $25, too.
How?
Well, I was in a club one day, and I was telling the shorty, like, you know, I got a brand. We do Wagyu chopped cheese, $20 chopped cheese. And shorty was like, $20 chopped cheese? Who's buying that? I'm like, nah, people have been jacking it for a minute now. We've been in the game for like a year. And she was like, oh, okay. Next day, my homegirl hit me on the gram, like, oh, Mitty, this chick on the gram, I think she's talking about you. And it's a chick in bed, eyelashes all twisted, like, you know, you first wake up. And she like, yeah, I was in the club last night and some dude talking about he make $20 chopped cheese. I'm like, who's buying that? Nobody's buying that, right? So and it was just when Fat Joe it was the day after the
Yesterday's price?
Yeah, when Fat Joe dropped that, so I was like, oh, this is perfect marketing right here. So I screen recorded Shorty on the gram talking about me, and then I added it with the Fat Joe. And I said, yo, because of Shorty, now the sandwich is $25. And then everybody started like just flaming her on the gram. Like, yo, I bought 10 of them already. It's the best chopped cheese. It's the best product. Support the hood. Support black business. So I just used that as an opportunity to just raise the price, because I was just like, fuck it. Like, Fat Joe said yesterday price ain't today's price. Everybody should raise their prices, right?
You know how to naturally market. And I feel like
because, you know, I'm from the hood. I'm from Bed-Stuy. I'm from Notion. Like, this has always been our culture, like standing on the corner, being fly, like hollering at the baddies, like coming up with the lingo. Like, it's always been, New York has just always been the pioneers of everything. So it was like, for me, like, this shit is natural. I don't really second guess much, because I'm like, this is just what it is. If it fail, it fail. 9 times out of 10, it's going to hit.
Facts. Now, speaking of second guessing, and I told you this, I love the story of when you guys finally decided to go from pre-orders and your IG orders to now y'all are on DoorDash. And you have a brick and mortar in Chelsea, New York. Like I mentioned, one of the most expensive real estate locations within New York City. When did you finesse that? Yeah, and I was going to say, but before we get to that, when did you know was the time to make the jump to brick and mortar? Because again, like at the end of the day, that's overhead, right? Like that's another expense. So that's money coming out of your pocket. Yep. So how did you know it was the right time to bring the business off of online and into the real world?
To be honest with you, we were scared to death. We didn't know what time it was, when it was. We just knew that we got the opportunity. We better take it.
How many years into the business was it?
That was 2 years into the business.
Okay, so 2022. So still kind of coming out of the pandemic a little bit.
Yeah, like still, I mean, we really just now getting out the pandemic and everything, outdoor scene. But for the first 2 years, we were just doing collabs and pop-ups because, you know, with the food industry, it fails a lot. So I was like, I'm not trying to take no loan from no investor or no dope boys and like the shit fail. So we got to get the name out there. We got to get the brand popping to make people be like walking down the street and see it and be like, oh, I know that brand. Like they valid. I'll go tap in. So that's kind of what, when we knew like, all right, if we do a brick and mortar, we done sold enough sandwiches, did enough collabs where we was like filling ourselves with like, people gonna pull up.
Did you have a certain like number in mind? Like, okay, we'll do 10 collabs, or if 10 influencers post us.
I think it was more so just we've been putting in enough work that it can't fail. And if we do fail, we're gonna learn from whatever we fail from and how to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, it sounds like it's more of a feeling versus a number.
Yeah.
Was it a feeling where
it was definitely a feeling because it was never about the numbers. I mean, when we were doing the pre-orders and we had the restaurant, after a while, that leasing was up because the restaurant needed their restaurant back. I mean, so we had to basically go off who wanted to open their doors up. So then we had Vaughn Bar. I don't know if y'all know Vaughn. Vaughn is like a classic bar on Bleecker.
It sounds familiar.
And Bowery. Well, homie was like, man, y'all could make y'all sandwiches in the basement. We need food because this was the time when everybody needed food to serve alcohol. So it was like the universe was always just working in our favor because everybody would come to my bar and sell some sandwiches because nobody wanted to really make food and nobody wanted to invest in the food and then it don't sell. So we was taking our own bread, buying the product and knowing that hopefully we were going to sell. So it went from pre-orders to now we got to hustle the sandwiches. Now we got to stand outside with flyers and tell people about it. Now we got to have our elevator pitch ready. So it went from pre-orders, everybody had it because that was about probably a cool 1,000 people with the pre-order system over like 6 months. Okay. So it was like the hype for it was there, but people was like finding out about it, but they're like, I need this every day. So we started doing the everyday pop-ups, taking over like restaurants and doing like secret
would they
menu.
charge you for those?
Sometime it would be like a percentage splits.
Okay.
And other times it was like, we just need food because without the food, they can't open.
Yeah.
So it was like one hand wash the other.
So percentage splits means you're still not coming out of pocket.
Yeah, for us it's like I'm from the hood, so you already know. Like we grew up 30 off a buck, right? 30 off a buck was a homie gonna give you the pack, and after you sell it, then you make some money. So it's basically I'm not paying nobody no money until I make money because I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, you know, get this investment deck and let's take these people money. You just put yourself in debt. And one thing in the hood, we never want to be in debt because you want a clean face. So I'm like, I'd rather make money and then break bread than having to owe somebody money because all your funds will go right back to them. So we always kept that strategy because coming from a pre-order business, we try to keep that like niche. Like my partner sometimes like, oh, let's take a loan. I'm like, nah, we're not owing nobody bread. We got to bet on ourselves. Like it's just better that way. It's safer that way. You feel me? Like, and not to really say it's plain and safe, but it's kind of dangerous too because you know they say you got to get it while you hot. But I always knew we were gonna be hot forever, just because like I'm just a flea guard like that. You feel me? Like it's always
when you got it, you got it.
When you got it, when it's in you, you don't got to worry about it being on you. You feel me? And that was like always the energy I try to just keep and keep my partners aware of too. Like I understand y'all come from the restaurant industry, Balthazar and all the fancy places, but from the streets, it's like I got a whole different like
mentality.
Yeah, a whole different mentality.
Yeah. So now with these restaurants, did you have to, obviously they needed you to open, but there's so many different types of food items in restaurants. How did you convince them to choose you?
Well, really what it was is they chose us because they saw the hype, right? Because They're like, oh, this
On
is a small
Instagram.
on Instagram,
Now,
social
y'all
media.
only on Instagram or y'all
Only on Instagram. I mean,
Okay.
we got TikTok now, but it's like we just love the gram so much because it's direct, it's right there. We got a website.
Y'all
we
doing
pay,
pictures and videos and all of
Yeah,
that?
I do all of that. So I run the social media basically. I mean, I
Okay.
already had my gram lit, so it was easy to like
Right.
just take food and do all that. But for the most part, I'm like, I'm not paying no bread to like hire no people to do something that we could just learn to do ourselves, right? And coming from a pre-order business is like you have to believe in your brand, believe in your product, believe that when you tell people this is coming, that they're gonna give you the money for it, and you have to deliver.
So it's interesting because I see that the collabs got you guys to that next level. But even now that you do have your own brick and mortar, you still do a lot of
We
collabs.
still doing collabs because we outside. It's like because the whole thing for us was like to take the chopped cheese out of the deli and put it outside, right? How many pop-ups you ever been to where they had chopped cheese or Wagyu chopped cheese at that? You wouldn't have
Minimal,
it.
yeah.
I mean, we took it
Not
to
even
London.
a regular chopped cheese.
Yeah, we took it across the pond. Honestly, shout out to Alvaro Barrington, fire artist from Brooklyn. He booked us floors across to London, put us up in Kensington, all off the chop. Like a work trip, like a paid work trip. It was like 20 racks to like do an event,
That's
all
fire.
in. Like, so
Yeah.
we essentially became a catering company.
Yep.
It was like we went from making a chop to now a client might be like, hey, I got X amount of dollars. Can you make some tuna melts and some chicken wings and some falafels? And we had did a collab with Spotify. It was called New Wave. And I think this was maybe Ice Spice's first performance in Bushwick. And they was like, we know you do the chopped cheese, but we also need y'all to run the bar. We need y'all to hire staff. And we was just like, we was so money hungry that we was like, yeah, we can do it.
Say
yeah,
less.
we got it. And when
I'm
we
the
got off
same
that
way,
call,
man.
we was like, yo, we got to hire some homies. We got to go get some fucking bar backs. We got a lot of work to do. And it was like no sleep, but we did it. And I think that was like one of our biggest caterings. That was like 40 grand for like a one-day event. Like, and we cooked out the back of like some warehouse. We ain't even have a food truck, nothing. And for us, it's like we always gonna say yes and then figure it out on the back end. It's just like it's like setting yourself up for success, but not being scared of failure. Like you feel me? You don't need much to make it happen.
I like doing that too, honestly, because to your point that you mentioned at the top of this is like sometimes you get stuck in that planning phase for so long. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like when you commit yourself to something that you can't back out of, it's like, yo, we got no choice but to figure this out.
Yeah.
So we either gotta measure up to success or fail, and fail is not an option. So
yeah, I tell them all the time. You know, I'm from Nostrand. I'm from a real dangerous place. I'm from the bottom, Pacific and Nostrand, borderline Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy. You feel me? Gates Ave. And I know poverty. You feel me? I got friends who now was up back in the day. Now they in poverty. You know, I pray for them. And when you come from a place that's the bottom, it's like, dog, like it's no lower than that. So where we at now, it means every chip we're progressing. You feel me?
That's huge though, because you know, I feel like unfortunately most people from the hood don't always have that mentality, because on a humanistic level, if you can only really become like what you see or what you have a model of. And if you're in an enclosed environment, you don't necessarily see, like you mentioned, us in the corner stores or like making food or like owning restaurants. So for you to have this mentality is huge. And I think also to see, when you see like the cycle of people staying in the same place, it's even more inspiring when someone is able to kind of break out of that thought process and, if anything, go in the opposite direction. Now, in one of our previous conversations, you mentioned when it was time to make the move to the brick and mortar that you just had the faith to do it. And you were with your more experienced partners, like Sippy, who's a chef, right? So he understands everything that it takes to run the restaurant business. And sometimes when you have that knowledge, you can kind of be inundated by your fears a little bit. But you, the less experienced person, were like, no, y'all, like, it's time.
Yeah, this is the moment.
I have the faith. Like, I got this message that came to me. And so this is what we're doing. And obviously it proved to be successful. How did you have the confidence to continue to push even when you had people who were, quote unquote, more experienced than you to do it? Where did that faith come from?
So I think that really comes from like a inner thing where I'm like, a little bit of a narcissist, because I might think I know it all. I'm sure a lot of my friends probably say that. Maybe you think you know it all, blah, blah, blah. But I've had a lot of life experiences where I told people things and they told me that it wouldn't work and then it did work. So I think my confidence is what pushes me to be like, it's gonna work because failure is not an option.
You feel like your parents raised you that way?
You know what's crazy? My parents just raised me to stay out of trouble. They never really like sat me down and gave me like no like business talks or like energy talks and all that. I really just gained that from like the streets, like being outside, being around OGs. I seen OGs go to jail, come home broke, fucked up. Like just my environment, I've always like videotaped what was going around. And I was always the kid to learn from other people's mistakes so I wouldn't make those mistakes. Like I knew like if you went to the wrong hood, repping your gang, that you was probably gonna get shot at or you was probably gonna get stabbed. So if I seen that happen to other homies, why would I do the same shit? Like, so I was always like one step ahead of like failure. So when it was time for us to go into the brick and mortar, I was telling the homies like, I know y'all come from the restaurant industry, but you know, to have knowledge sometimes is a weakness because you think you know it all. So I know that I'm not that knowledgeable in the food industry. So I might have that one little gem that might trickle down or trickle domino effect to be something bigger than something that you know. Because they might teach you every time you get dressed, you're supposed to put on your shirt first and your pants after. I might be like, nah, you put the socks on, then you put your hoodie. Like, you got to always switch it up because you never know. And it worked. I mean, I told them, I said, if y'all don't want to do this project, I'm doing it. I'm putting my name on the lease. I'm signing all the contracts because this is the universe. I'm big on manifestation. I'm big on law of attraction. When we first started, we were trying to give away 10 sandwiches. Now we got these rich folks telling us they want to give us a whole restaurant. And I told the dude, I said, we don't got no money. So we don't got no money to pay you rent. You're going to have to give us like a commission-based situation. And they gave us a commission-based rent. And I was like...
Really? Is that something they normally do?
I don't really know everybody else's situation, but I told dude, I said, yo, we don't got no money to be paying no $10,000, $20,000. It's just like, it can't work. But they believed in the brand. They know that we were coming from being a pop-up brand to putting us in a brick and mortar is like, you putting us in a whole different ballgame now because we went from private events, caterings, curating a vibe to now every day we got to open up a shop and sell a product in a neighborhood that ain't really... I mean, Chelsea...
They don't really know about the chopped cheese.
They don't know about the chopped cheese. They ain't really no bodegas over there like that.
Right,
you feel me? Like, you might get a convenience, like a market store that, I mean, Ak might make it, but homies ain't pulling up for a chopped cheese from there. So they put us in the market and we had to hustle. We had to get our branding on. We had to get our flyers popping. I had to hit the streets. I had to tell all the homies, pull up. We had to post every day on social media. And now we got foot traffic.
Now, how did you convince them to do the model that you currently have? Like, did you come to them with a deck or were you just like, yo, this brand is dope? Or did they know about you guys from beforehand?
Oh, so what happened is, shout out to my homie Alex. I was at Little Frankie's in the Lower East Side, met a dude at the bar, had some wine. We just chopped it up. I told him what I'm doing. He told me what he's doing. He's working at a hotel at the moment. A year later, he like, yo, I got a new job at this market. And they were doing, at the time, they were doing like the Basquiat exhibit was over there. I forget the name of it. The last like big Basquiat exhibit in Chelsea.
I remember.
And he like, yo, they got like a little spot in the back. I think it'll be perfect for y'all to do the chop. You just got to come through and like tap in with the owners. So I came, tapped in with the owners. Next day I brought the partners. We made the sandwich. By the third day, we had a contract. They was like, yo, we love the sandwich. We see what y'all got going on in the gram. We need the foot traffic. We feel like y'all be the foot traffic. We want a black-owned business over here. We need y'all. And we was like, all right, let's go. So when people believe in your brand, it's always easier to like work with people. So I've always been the type of person, I never like beg for favors. Like in Jamaican culture, you said when I beg for nothing. Like, you feel me? Like, I'll be hungry, but I won't ask you to feed me. You feel me? If you see that I'm hungry, you're going to offer. You're going to dish it out. So I'm always like on some like, if these people are saying they fuck with us, let's fuck with them, right? Like, let's not look for people who don't fuck with us to try to make them fuck with us. Like, that's just corny shit. Like, you feel me? Like, that's not how I grew up. It's like, I don't fuck with people who don't fuck with me. Like, I don't care how big of a celebrity you got, how much money you got. If you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. But if you fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you right back. You feel me? And that type of energy and that type of respect goes a long way. When a person actually believes in your brand, like, and don't get me wrong, we be wilding out at the restaurant, rolling up weed, like playing trap music. You know, we from the hood, so we bring that aesthetic, and they love us though. You know what I mean? We have our meetings. They be like, "Yo, y'all gotta chill, y'all gotta chill." Like, nah, it's the culture. We gotta up it, like. But it's like, it's beautiful. Yeah, we gotta up it, but it's beautiful.
You know.
It's beautiful when people believe in your brand and they want to work with you, right? Like
Yeah.
for instance, our relationship, we've known each other for what, 5-6 years, and so it's like when we want to, it's like that I respect you the same way you respect me. So it's not even like we're working; it's like we just kicking it, and that's what's important when you could work with people that you have a relationship with. And I feel like that's why I don't really like on the music tip why I don't do features with artists because I don't really if I don't really fuck with you, I'm not gonna do a song with you. It's just like it's not organic.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's like
it's
forced.
not
Like you
authentic.
forcing a wave. Like
Yeah.
you can't force a wave. Like it gotta be natural.
Absolutely. And honestly, I feel like it seems like the through line of your story is relationships, because I feel like every time I ask you something, you're like, yeah, actually, shout out the homie so and so, and it's like then that led to that. Yeah.
No, everybody think you need money. You need connections, respect. You feel me? You treat people with love. You be yourself all the time. Yo, relationships will get you further than money sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Feel me? Like,
I agree.
A person can give you $10,000 and you blow it and it's over. You tell a person, nah, I just need you to come through to this meeting. I need you to put this dinner party together for me. I need you to tell this person about me. Like that favor sometimes could get you further than a little bit of money. Because money go fast. But relationships last forever. You feel me? Like
absolutely. I would say I got honestly probably every job from relationships from someone that I know. And of course, like I show up, right? Like we always show up, and you come all the way through. You go above and beyond. But that door opening, a lot of times it's got to be, if it's not God, it's got to be somebody else opening that door for you.
So something I want to say to people out there too, man, if you in the crib and you're trying to figure it out, you don't know what's the next motion, what's going on, value your relationships. Everything ain't built on money. When I opened up the restaurant, my account was -$9. Like our first day, we was -$9 because we had to buy all the product. We had to buy all the packaging. We was broke. But we had the grill on. People was pulling up. People was buying the sandwiches. So it was like, money is important, but more important is faith, respect, and you got to have that dedication. And you got to, consistency, win championships. And remember, everybody going to tell you what to do in the championship. They never going to tell you how to get to the playoffs. They never going to tell you how to get to the playoffs. When you in the championship, everybody like, yo, do this, do that. So you got to stay tunnel vision like, nah, homie, you ain't get me this far. You feel me? Like, I know what got me here.
That's real.
And I had this one lady, Victoria, she's a real estate lady. And I remember one time she wanted us to give away some sandwiches to this like bike shop called Jane in Soho. And I was like, all right. So I told my partners, like, yo, Victoria said we should give them some sandwiches. They was like, nah, like she got money, they got money. Why are we giving them sandwiches? And I was like, bro, but it's like they in the neighborhood, one hand wash the other. It might be an opportunity later down the line. And the message in that was when I told Victoria, I was like, my partners don't really want to do it. She said, Mitty, that's fine. Let people think, but we know what we're going to do. And that shit just hit me so hard because a lot of time I feel like we take people's constructive criticism and people's what you should be doing, and we always try to give like a response. But most of the time you just gotta listen. Be like, oh, word, you think I should dye my hair black? I'm gonna do that. Whole time just let people feel like they being heard, but you don't have to apply it. And I feel like that's where a lot of time we get into battles and then you start taking other people's thoughts and putting it into your world. It's like let people think, but just stand on business. Stand on what you know you're gonna do.
Everybody
be firm
got
in
their
your
own
belief.
journey.
And it's like, and I told my partners like, all right, y'all don't want to do it, but I'm doing it. You feel me? And it worked for us in the long run. We ended up getting a catering, a bigger order for them, like 12 sandwiches, because we gave them the 2 sandwiches. So it was like, but that's back to the relationship thing. It's like you gotta know how to bargain. Not everybody. Don't give away your product for the free for everybody and just be out here like hone yourself out. But be a little strategic.
Yeah.
And be like, tell a person like, yo, I'm gonna do this favor for you, but you owe me one. Like, like have that like verbal agreement.
Yeah, it's the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
So you've said twice so far that you said to your partners, all right, if y'all don't want to do this, I'm going to do it, right? Yeah. So it's obvious that you have that confidence and that faith within yourself and that you know what's best to make that decision. How do you know when it is the right decision, right? Like, because it's obvious that you can't do 100 times at 100 times and be accurate.
No.
So how do you know? Is it a feeling that you have?
Well, see, I'm big on like energy and like motion, you feel me? And honestly, just going with your gut. And I feel like I've mastered that for so much that I've like, I know you said 100 out of 100. Like, I'm like, it's literally 100 out of 100. Like,
what do you feel like it took you to be able to be a master at knowing what that gut reaction is and knowing how to act on it and knowing how to trust it too?
I think a lot of time on myself. and my thoughts and just being like, all right, I got to do this. Everybody else don't think it's gonna work. Let me do it, right? And I feel like one of my biggest journeys in life was when I was in the hood. I used to tell my friends like, yo, it's more out there than just us being on the block. Like we don't got to sell drugs. We don't got to be gang banging. Like look at the OGs. They 40, 50. Like they don't got no businesses. Don't got no real estate. Like we can't fall for that same trap. And I had to literally separate myself from my childhood friends because they was on some, nah, the block is it, the block is it. So I had to start going and hanging out in Soho, got a job in Manhattan just to get out the hood. Some days I wake up on the block, Metro card, I'm going to the city. I don't know where I'm going for. I'm going to walk around, figure it out. So I felt like that type of energy at a young teen made me be like, whatever you feel like is going to work, is going to work. Because, now the homies, they still in the hood. Shout out to the homies. They love that. That's what was for them. But I feel like that mentality has now gotten me out the hood. Like, you feel me? Like, and when I say out the hood, I mean like mentally out the hood.
Mm-hmm. And you say you spend a lot of time with yourself and contemplating. Like, what does that look like for you? Are you journaling? Are you just sitting thinking?
I think most of the time when I go out, I'm always by myself. I mean, you could ask any doorman in New York City when I go to the club.
I was gonna say, I feel like most of the time when
I'm always out.
If it's not with Daytona.
Yeah,
you
the homies is like I'm always by myself because I'm like I'll probably run into somebody I know.
Yeah.
But having that time alone with yourself and not having no distractions to tell you, when we have friends, sometimes you might want to go get tacos and then go see some art on the Upper East Side, but your friend might be like, no, let's get Thai food and let's go to. So you start to like conflict your own thoughts. So
compromise.
You compromise, but then when you need people to compromise for you and they don't. So I feel like I had a lot of betrayal stories that I won't talk about, but I feel like the betrayal stories made me realize like when you want to do something for you, you do it. Because when you do things for other people, they might not give you that same favor in return. And you could put it as clear as day, like, yo, I gave you 5,000 bags of Skittles. You can't give me one bag of M&Ms. And a person is straight beat up like, yo, I can't do it. And you'll drive yourself crazy because you're like, yo, that's fucked up. I can't believe this motherfucker did this shit. But like, I feel like betrayal and like heartbreak and letdowns, you got to take that shit and use that as motivation, honestly, because it happens to everybody. So just being a firm believer and knowing that I tell myself, I am the shit. I am the best dressed. I am the best looking. I create the best product. I make the best decisions. And you have to, because if you don't have that self-love, that self-confidence, nobody else is going to give you that. And if you depend on somebody else for that, when that person is no longer there, your whole foundation is crumbled, right? Use people as like a scaffolding, not as a foundation, right? Because scaffolding is there when you're building yourself up. You might fall down a little bit. They pick up some pieces, but you still got your foundation. Absolutely. And once you have a foundation with yourself, everything is possible. And, I do a lot of studying. I study all the greats, the Kanye stories, the Tyler Perrys, I listen to people's stories. Like, they come up. Like, everybody's come up is different, but it's all the same. Everybody hit rock bottom, ain't have shit, was fucked up, sleeping on the friend couch, lost a relationship, lost family members. And that's another thing, too. When I was in 2014, I lost my father and my brother in the same year. And it was a hard year for me. I was like, damn, like, I was ready to go back to the hood, take over shit, terrorize shit. But I was like, I just gained 2 angels. So literally anything I want to do, I know they got me. And a lot of things started happening. I was like, oh, like, that's the bro in them. That's Pop. You feel me? So rest in peace, Don V. Rest in peace, Maximilian. Like, I know that I got angels, and that's why I move the way I move.
That's real. Because, like, when you are faced with those decisions, when you're faced with those situations, you have 2 decisions and 2 paths that you can make. And I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of us tend to lean into that anger.
Yeah, and go left.
Right. And as you know, like, because you're big on energy, like, all it takes is one negative thought to just compound and just take everything over. The same thing with positivity, too, right? Like, you had that one positive thought, like, I got angels now, and then...
Yeah, and then it's up. Now you firecrackers. So it was like you want to be sad and depressed and angry and broke or in jail and dead. It's like, nah, we got to go the other way. So, you got to take the bad and make the good.
Absolutely. Now, within your journey of Shmackwich, what would you say has been your hardest obstacle or hurdle that you were able to conquer?
Consistency. A lot of times we go through fights, we be arguing, one partner want to give up. I'm like, yo, fuck this shit, I ain't doing this shit no more. So, but I got a good friend by the name of MF, and he came to when we was doing the pre-orders, and he said, yo, Mitty, I know you've been my best friend for a long time. You doing this right now and it work, do it 10 times. Do it 100 times. Do it 1,000,000 times. Making that commitment to myself that it's like doing a bid, right? Because I was in situations as a youth where I know we could have been shipped up the river. You know, you see it happening now, RICO cases, indictments, just having friends. You might not even be active like that, but because your friends is active, them boys come, you're getting snatched up. So I know that I escaped the system, so now I put a bid into myself, right? So this is like a bid for me. This is my jail time, doing something and it's working and doing it forever, doing it for life. Like, don't put the emotion in it and being like, have an excuse to not be consistent.
Yeah, and
a lot of people,
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
That shit gets boring.
Yo, it gets boring. Like, honestly, some days I wake up, I'm like, yo, I don't want to go open up the restaurant and go do this shit.
Right.
But I'm like, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go shopping, go fuck off, go holler at a chick or some shit. I'm like, I gotta go do it. It's like, and it's hard sometimes, but some days you wake up, you're like, oh, I can't wait to go do it, right? So, a wise dude told me, some days are good, some days are better, but no day is a bad day, right? So when you look at it like, is today one of my good days or a better day, you start to give yourself more of a positive baseline. Where it's like yesterday was lit when I woke up. Today I'm feeling a little, but let me still push the foot forward. And a crazy story is like, it was a day, like it was rough for us. We didn't want to open. We was going to close early. And Carmelo Anthony pulled up on us, right?
Yeah.
So we in the shop, we like, yo, we closed today. We like, it's nice outside. And then Melo pulled up in the hoodie Melo, not even like a suited, but like hoodie Melo. I thought it was the goons pulling up. I'm like, I gotta tell these niggas we closed. They gonna be like, oh, we came from Harlem, y'all closed. So like on days when it's like, damn, there's no motion. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Like, that's when the blessing come through. You feel me? So you got to always know that when you feeling that weird energy, the blessing might be right around the corner. And when you keep that mentality, it keeps you thirsty for the blessing. Because it might be 5,000 days. We're like, nigga, it been raining 5,000. I know the sun coming. Like, it's just, and just spend the rest of your life like that. Like, die faithful. Like, die with faith. You feel me? Like, and that's how you keep the momentum going.
Yeah, that's real. I love that. And I feel like I've experienced that so much too, where it's like, that moment where you're about to give up or about to just be like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
That's when that big blessing,
that's when it happens.
Big moment is coming through for you.
Yeah. I remember one day, right? So, we have to pay rent at the end of the month. So we had a big month. So we was balling out. We was shopping. We was doing all types of shit. And then the rent email hit like, yo, you owe 8 bands. And we was like, oh, shit. We only got So we like, fuck, damn, what we gonna do? And this was the first time like we didn't actually have the funds for the rent. We was like, damn, 8K. I'm like, I could put a little 2 bands on my own. My partners.
Well, you say you did commission too, right? So,
yeah,
so
no,
what
but the commission, we
yeah.
pay the commission at the end of the month, not like they take it out first. So they give us all our funds, and then they be like, so it's our responsibility as an honorable man to say, okay, we made X amount of dollars. Here goes your on the back end, right? Okay. So the back end hit, and it was like, oh, 8 bands.
Back end, man.
I was like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have bought them Dior's. I shouldn't have went to STK. I shouldn't have got the Uber.
Was this the first time?
This was like the first time that we didn't have the funds for the rent. It was like, fuck, damn, shit, what we gonna do? And then like a blessing came through in an email where a client was like, oh, we need you to do this or this. Can you do? And it was like the exact number. And we was like,
wow.
And my partner sent the screenshot, like, yo, I told you God be working. Like,
that faith is real.
That faith is real. Like, the miracles happen all the time. And when you just
do not suggest that at home, but the faith do be real.
No, the faith do be real. But, and then that shit came through and we got right. And we even told him, like, yo, listen, we got half this week and we're going to give you the other half next week. And they were like, yeah, you always got us. We good. Like, so even with that, like, seeing how much these folks who don't really know us like that have faith in the brand and then have faith in us, created like, but damn, people really fuck with us. Like, we got to do this now. So shout out to the Ali Market. Shout out to my boy Tim, 16 on Center. They've been holding us down, you feel me? And now we got goals to expand and, go global. Like, because the chop is something that everybody needs. Like,
absolutely. Now, if you could give a percentage to faith versus business tactics of what it takes a business to be successful, how would you divide that percentage?
I feel like 25% business tactics, and 75% faith.
That's huge.
Yeah, because I know so many people who they got all the strategies, they got all the I'm talking about people who in their regular jobs make millions of dollars and run projects, but now for their own brand, they can't get it off the ground. They know all the how to scale the businesses, but they can't get the business off the ground. They're actually $40,000-$50,000 in a hole because they're like, okay, this is what you got to do. You got to spend $10,000 on marketing ads. You got to spend another $5,000. And I'm like, in the hood, I feel like we just got so much faith in ourselves. I'm like, I'm not finna pay some stranger $5,000 so they can talk about they put my shit on Google. I'd rather take that money and hit the streets. Like, my boy's a DJ, pay him $500. My other boy's an engineer. He might know our Ice Spice, give her 5 racks. And that's our organic marketing. So organic marketing for us has always been a thing, but that's the faith in knowing that, okay, this is how people do it, but this is how we do it, right? That's just how it goes. And you learn that from the Jews. You learn that from the Italians. People do things the way they want to do things, and it works for them.
Yep.
So as a black folks, we got to know that, we do things the way we do it, and it's going to work for us. Like, one person might want to invest $200,000 in their business, and it might fail, and it might work. Another person might be like, I'm not putting no bread into it. I'm going to create a brand. I'm going to create a solution to a problem, and the customers are going to fulfill all of those goals, right? Because the consumer is getting what they want, so they have no problem giving you their money. And that's what you really want to have the faith in. So you got to have faith in knowing that if the product is hot, it's going to sell. That's just what it is. Because you can have all the money and all the tactics and if the product is not hot, it's not going to be hot.
That's real.
Right?
You gotta got the
artists put out bad music all the time. Yeah, the sauce, you got to have it.
Yeah, facts. Y'all definitely have it. Okay, so you mentioned going global, and when we were talking about your collabs, it was really intriguing to me because when you started to describe it, how like people just want chopped cheeses in their restaurants, it started to remind me of the same business model as the Impossible Burger, right? Where it's like they don't got the Impossible Burger shop. It's like they sell their items to all of the restaurants, and now you have a vegan option on your menu. Is that the same model that you foresee Shmackwich taking, or do you actually want to open brick and mortars globally?
That's a good question. So we want to do brick and mortars, but we want to be there personally because with having staff, shout out to our staff, this is not a jab at you, but nobody's going to love your brand the way you love your brand, right? So you can say, you know what, I'm going to take all this money, I'm going to open up 100 Smackwiches, but where's the niche? Half these people probably don't even know what a chopped cheese is or the history of it. So now we got a shop in Virginia. People are like, oh, where did chopped cheese come from? And there's a kid in the shop from Virginia who don't know about chopped cheese.
Like, I don't know.
He's like, oh, it's like a New York thing.
He's just like a high schooler.
So it's like, right? It's like a
hype
hype beast almost. It's like people just doing it for a bag. And so it's going to be it's going to take longer to be that big, but it's going to be more of a personal connection with the brand and people actually getting the hospitality that goes into it, right? Because like your mama can make some fried chicken and you getting that love from it, and she could teach 100 people, she could put the recipe out there, but it's not going to be the same. So for us, we want to keep it tight, keep it organic, and keep it New York, right? But I was talking with one of my friends, and she said, we just got to create like when you go to like those schools and they give you the videos and they teaching you like a training video. Yeah. So we got to make like a training video on how to be like a New Yorker.
I was gonna say that, but y'all should probably do, like, if you really trying to like impact, go in person to every like onboarding, like when you open,
you gotta be there
so that they could feel your energy.
Yeah, you gotta be there.
So New York, so
exactly.
Like, oh yeah, exactly. I get this, like, and then that's when they get
exactly. And I feel like that's why people pull up on us too, because even at the market, like everybody don't look like us, right? We be coming, I be behind the counter sometime in Evisus and fresh white ups, and people would be like, yo, like, what? I'm like, that's just us. Like, we get fly every day. I'm not going to like stop getting fly because I'm making sandwiches. So it's like people like that personal, and people walk by and they're like, you know what? Like, I want to support y'all. Like, because everything else is just, you just supporting or whatever. You know that when you support us, that money going back to the hood. Some way, some shape and form, that money going back to Mama Love or to a baby mama or to the homies or something. You feel me? Like, you ain't invested in something else. This money going back to the community.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, describe a day in the life of Mitty for us. What time are you waking up? What time are you getting to the shop? What time are you leaving?
So the shop opens at noon, and it's crazy. Like, some mornings I wake up at 9, and I'm like, oh, I got time. And by the time I take a shower or even do anything. It's like, oh shit, I got to get to fucking Chelsea. And then a staff might hit me and be like, we ran out of tomatoes, we ran out of lettuce. So now I got to go to the grocery store, buy lettuce, tomatoes. And we might have an influencer
so
that's
you're
coming.
buying all of this yourself.
Yeah, we buy all of the product ourselves. We don't do because you got to remember, some days we might sell 50 sandwiches, some days we might sell 10 sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
So to buy 50 cases of lettuce and you only sold about 20 sandwiches that week, God forbid it's slow, now you got to throw away all that product.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, we come from the whole pre-order aspect. So that's why we do small batches of everything. So that way we do sell out. And it's like, all right, well, we only had enough for 50 sandwiches today. We sold 50, now we sold out.
Mm-hmm.
So a day in the life for me could be anything. I mean, some nights I'm in the studio recording until 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I go home, I sleep, then I got to wake up, go open up the shop. We run in the shop. Then I got a regular job, you feel me? Like a actual job, because we got to have money coming in from other revenues. Being a hustler, everybody in New York, you can't just have one hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got like 50 hustles that people don't even know.
Man, talk about it.
So anybody, like your dreams, chase your dream, do all that, but get you a 9-to-5, get you a job that's going to give you some money. And it doesn't have to be anything with what your passion is. Get that bread. Like, you feel me? Like in New York, like we don't got parents with homes where you can just live with your parents forever. Like everybody got apartments. And once you get a certain age, you got to get up out of there. So you got to be on your hustle. So 9 times out of 10, every influencer you see, you think they making money on the gram, they probably got a real job.
They do got a real job.
They got a real job. You feel me? And they investing in their brand until their brand like makes them, like we had one influencer, I'm not going to say his name, but he was like a garbage man. And we thought he was making all his money off social media. He's like, nah, I'm a garbage man.
Garbage men make money, but
yeah, for
to
sure.
be an influencer too, okay.
And he was a garbage man. But now he's like popping though, and he like left his job. So it was like, but the garbage man job.
But he didn't show that part on IG.
Not one, you can't go to the gram and find one sanitation photo. You feel me? Like, and I respect that. You keep a lot of things in private because you don't want people pulling up to your job or wishing bad on anything. So like.
Yeah, but that's real. And that's why that's why I wanted to have this space too, because I feel like we are in the world of illusion, especially with social media. So people don't understand the real, and you don't need, like I mentioned at the top of this, you don't need what they're trying to sell you in terms of get a loan, get this, get that, buy my marketing course,
my account was -$9 the day we opened the restaurant. You feel me? Like
it's so real.
It's like so real shit, but I knew it was a blessing. Like, how many people you supposed to be broke? I mean, I'm pretty sure when Amazon opened their last building, it was $40 million in the hole. So you feel me? It's like shit just be real like that.
Yeah, for real.
And I feel like that's the shit that people don't see or hear about, right?
Exactly.
So shout out to you giving me a platform to even talk about that. Cause I'm like, I didn't post that on the gram, and when the platform, the opportunity arises, and I know I could probably inspire somebody.
You are. You going to.
Yeah, you feel me?
Sometimes we can't even go to the bank and get a loan because we don't got the proper credit and stuff. So this is going to be so motivating.
Sometimes you can't even go to the bank and get your own money out. I remember one night I was out and I'm probably going to link with some friends. I literally couldn't go to no ATM. All the Chase banks was closed.
What?
Like you couldn't. I had to go to, obviously ATM in the hood. We don't want to spend that $4 fee though. But I'm like, damn, I can't even go to a Chase and get my own bread. You can't even get that much. You can only get a couple hundred.
Oof, it's crazy.
This shit is crazy. So even if you got money, sometimes you can't even get your own money.
I feel like this is a great fucking conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
How's the room feeling? Yeah? Okay. Love it. Okay. Good. Okay. We'll close out with this one. This is my first question. So we'll close out with this one, which is I actually feel like it's a perfect question to close out to. The definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. So the reason you exist. Do you feel like you're living in your purpose right now?
For sure.
And why is that?
I feel like I'm living in my purpose, but I can't tell you that I always knew what my purpose was, if that makes sense, right?
It does.
So a lot of time people ask themselves, what is my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
I think you find purpose through journey. And when you stay committed and back to consistency, you start to learn your purpose. But my purpose 5 years ago might not be my purpose now. So I feel like purpose can always change for people. Some people might dedicate their life just to one purpose, and I might just to represent God or to be like a garbage man or to be an artist. Mm-hmm. For me, it's I know that I have the gift of gab to inspire people, make people happy, make people smile, and that's like one of my main purposes. And that's another purpose is to make my mom proud. Make sure my mom don't got to worry about me being in the streets or like if a shooting happened in the Bronx or something, she don't got to worry about, oh, my son was probably involved in that. You feel me? So my purpose is to make my family not only proud of me, but make my family safe, where they know they don't got to worry about me, right? And that's what I'm dedicating my life to, because I come from where every day my mom was worrying about, oh, it was a shooting in the hood, you was on Gates, or oh, that was y'all on the block, and that shit get tiring as a young
and
adult.
That's stressful.
Super stressful.
Cause her aneurysm.
Yeah, and like getting locked up, your mom's got to come bail you out. So I went through all those experiences at a young age where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna dedicate my purpose to making sure my mom's is good and my mom's ain't stressed out. So like, it could be a bunch of purposes, but my main purpose is for my mom's, to make sure she don't got to worry about me, that I'm good. I ain't getting caught up in no bullshit, no dumb shit. You feel me? And if I ever put myself in those situations, I start to think like, how mama love gonna feel about this? You feel me? Like, so it kind of gives you that, you got to have that balance, because if not, you're gonna just be out here wilding. And I feel like that's why a lot of the young boys is wilding. They don't really know that their purpose.
Exactly.
If you don't know your purpose, your family, your friends, your loved ones, people care about you. When you do dickhead shit, you stressing them out. So like, even if you don't know what your purpose is for yourself, make your purpose be for someone else, somebody that cares, a grandmother, a neighbor, your Aki at the store. Somebody needs you here. They need you free. Your child that's coming in the future. Like, make your purpose, if you don't know what it is for yourself, make it about somebody else.
Yeah. And that's so important, because intentionality is huge, because if you don't move with intention, the world is going to determine for you where you go. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be at the bottom.
For sure.
Because everybody else want to be at the top. So they're going to make sure that you're at the bottom if you don't know where you're going anyway, right? So I think that's a perfect way to close out.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Mitty, for bringing your attention, bringing your energy, giving us your story in a super, super real and authentic way, which I feel like the people could really benefit from. So thank you.
And I just want to take this, you know what I mean? Shout out to Sav, you know what I mean? I'm the pioneer of this shit. Been doing this shit a long time. Pelly's, Maury's, Robin Jeans on the Ave. We was always the first to do it. So me blessing the mic for Sav's first episode of her podcast, she's guaranteed headed down the road of success.
Guaranteed.
She tapped in, she did the right thing.
Yo, it's called a pre-order right here. This is my pre-order right here.
And after this drop, sandwich is going to be $30. You heard?
Okay.
But if you drop Sav's name, you told me that you watch the show, you get a little app or something, they can download it. You show me the app, I'll give you a little discount.
Nah, I got to head down. I saw y'all just drop the General Towels chicken.
Yeah, we got the clip bow. Because the bow, chicken bow. And that's how we do it. We be freestyling. So that's why I did the clip bow. Tell 5 we pull up. You know what I mean? Recipes, Pop Smoke, Brooklyn shit.
Damn, for real.
You know what I mean? We always, you know what I mean? Brooklyn keep on taking it. You know how we do, baby.
Come on, every day.
That's it.
All right.
Mitty Run the City. We out.
Out.
Zoom.